So I got a 7 out of 7 score, which is something I got 8 out of 8 last week. I'm on week 3 of becoming a better YouTuber. I'm going for 12 weeks. It's part of the 12-week year book. It teaches you how to accomplish more in 12 weeks than you would in 12 months. I'm doing so, I have another video on it, but I am managing my strategy, my actions, and keeping track of whether or not I'm accomplishing my goal through index cards. And again, I have a video on that setup as well. I'll link below. So week 2 was getting into the post-production. So going into the numbers of my actual tracking the lead and lag. I need to grab that card. So I have week 2 at the back of the index card system. That's kind of going over everything that I did last week. So I got a 7 out of 7 score, which is something I got 8 out of 8 last week. I was struggling with my last goal. So I think at the end of the day, whether you're doing the 12-week system or you're doing just like a goal for 2024 or for the month of October, I think the most important thing you need to do is set a good goal. The more I think about it, that is the most important thing, is making sure that your goal is phrased in a good way, that it has something that's measurable, that's something you can easily, it's realistic that you're going to actually be able to attain it. It's something that you can track each week, especially if you're doing the 12-week year plan where you're breaking it into weekly as you're leading up to this big ta-da, or daily, I guess. I've done a walking challenge. The Artist Way Challenge was more of a weekly thing. Setting yourself up for success. So even if it might not be the full thing that you wanted to do, if it's something that you're going to be able for sure to check off your list, it feels really good. Like before, I put too many items on my list and I didn't get to them, and it was always kind of upsetting, and that frustrated me as I was getting towards the end of the 12 weeks. And some of those items on the list really didn't need to be on the list. They weren't like needle movers. They were just like, oh, I should do this too. And also items like, I should do this if I have time. So you have to really be smart about your choices. I'm speaking to myself, of course, in that. But as far as my stats go for how I did, I was gonna go far into it, but I took the beginning thoughts of when I'm looking and for learning opportunities on YouTube and finding primarily male voices. I thought that's weird because I know women are talking about YouTube, but the majority of them talk about YouTube along with business and other aspects. It's not fully YouTube centered, and I think that's why I'm being shown all these male oriented voices, because they're choosing only to speak about YouTube, which made me think, on this channel, I don't want to talk about YouTube. I want to talk about my cards. In documenting this journey, I'm talking about using planner cards in place of my planner, not about YouTube. So I won't really go into all the fun stuff that I'm learning or finding out, even though I want to, because it's fun to talk about. One other thing. So I was able to find a female voice that I really enjoyed listening to. It was very refreshing. She was funny, and it was just nice to hear someone speaking without the like voice intonation, what do you call that, up and down, like the sales pitchy kind of feel. She was talking about storytelling as a part of a way to make sure that you have good video editing, that you need a beginning, middle, and end, and she gave you a few different options for making it compelling so someone wants to watch all the way through. And I thought about how storytelling has changed so much with this video component and shorts and reels and like the short bites. I was watching, even for streamers too, I was watching Peacock the other day, and they had some new romance on. I like romantic comedies. I was watching it when I was doing my laundry. It was the fastest introduction to the problem thing that carries the story through, I forget what that's called, that I've ever experienced in reading a book or in a movie. Even a lot of the books I've been reading, I've been trying to read more contemporary and new stuff. They do the same thing where they get into the problem right away. In this case, like the credits hadn't even finished. And then as you go through the story, some of her backstory is peppered in here and there, but we never saw like her family. We never saw where she lived or anything like that. She just references them. And I assume, number one, that like I was saying, that's just how people want to take in the story now. They want it like quick gratification. I think it was probably more affordable to not have that like backstory piece into it, multiple locations, additional actors. So anyway, it just made me think about storytelling and what's expected. I don't know, I've been learning a lot about the story aspect of it. and today I'm going to look at how to make things more engaging. That same woman who I found had a video on with the YouTube executive. She was talking about how that YouTube, the platform, has been changing and the way that users are utilizing it, where engagement is down. There's less comments, less likes, less touch points from the content provider to the viewer. I think that's an interesting thing too. The way we're consuming things is changing. What we expect and what we want to see is changing, and I think that can be applied. That idea of looking into storytelling can be applied in a lot of different jobs, a lot of careers, a lot of like passions. If you're, for example, with like NaNoWriMo in November, it's something to think about when I'm writing a novel. How do people want to consume this story? Anyway, that's just what I've been thinking about. Overall, I'm still really happy with the card system and using it in place of the planner. I haven't found any issues. If anything, it's only helped me because I'm focusing on one item at a time, taking notes on that one space, and then it's getting shuffled in front of the week. Subscribe to find out more about real world examples of planning using these free planner cards that I have linked below. It's part of the home management system that I have on the Etsy shop. It's a planner that I was using before. I wasn't using so much so as like a date book or appointment book. I was using it more so to plan out things I wanted to achieve. That in mind, really fast, I'm printing out the date dividers today to kind of create a whole new card deck because I finished the 2022 to 2023 ones. I'm a little bit behind. I had finished it on the 26th, so I'll have a video out. You can watch how I'm setting it up, and I'm going to talk about a common frustration with the card system is that a lot of people say it's outdated because everything's digital now, and I don't agree.